Am I the a-hole for not wanting a relationship with my parents now that they've cut me off? I'm a student. My parents earn enough that, when I applied for student finance to get my maintenance loan, I was only eligible for the minimum, just over £3,000 a year. That amount is based on parental income, and there's an assumption that parents will help support you. I'm on a high-intensity course, and I wasn't sure how I'd manage balancing studying and working. When I found out I'd only get the minimum loan, I told my parents I wanted to either take a year to save up and then attend my first-choice university a year later, or attend my second-choice university immediately because I wouldn't be able to afford to live in the city where my first choice was located. My parents said they would pay my rent if I went to my first choice on schedule. They set me up in a studio flat, so all I needed was a part-time job to cover food and bills. On February 18th, my 20th birthday, they called me and said I was relying on them too much and needed to find out what the real world was like by earning my own money. They told me they would cover my rent and phone for that month, so, until the end of February, and after that, I was on my own. They added that they were still my parents, they loved me, and they wanted me to stay in touch, they just wanted me to learn independence. I begged them to reconsider, but they ended the call. I had 11 days' notice that I would have no flat and no phone. I begged my university for emergency housing, but they said I had no proof I'd been cut off, so they couldn't do anything. I emailed my parents asking them to write a letter stating they'd cut me off so I could sort out student finance and emergency housing. They said no. I asked my job if I could take on more hours, but due to my contract I can't work more than I currently do. I'm looking for a second job. I'm sleeping on a friend's sofa until I can find a place I can afford. Because I still have no proof I've been cut off, I'll probably have to drop out this summer. Today, I got a Facebook message from my parents saying they were disappointed I didn't call on my mom's birthday a couple of days ago and that I still hadn't given them my new phone number. I responded, explained my current situation, and told them that I no longer want a relationship with them. I've now received a bunch of messages from them and my brothers asking me to reconsider. My friend says I shouldn't feel bad, but I feel incredibly guilty, like a spoiled brat, because I don't love my family for their money, I love them because they're my family. But they've really screwed me over here. Am I the a-hole for not wanting a relationship with them? Update: I messaged my parents asking why they cut me off, saying that the least they could do was explain why they were fine leaving me homeless. They responded. My friend, who I'm staying with, is an out and proud lesbian. She has maybe 2 posts about me on her social media, one group photo of us and some classmates in the library with me sitting next to her, and another from a couple of days before my birthday where she posted a photo of me when we went to lunch. In that caption, she jokingly referred to me as Princess. My brothers showed our parents those posts and told them I was a lesbian and she was my girlfriend. So now I have proof of why they cut me off, proof they're homophobic, and confirmation that they can and will turn on me at the drop of a hat. This also proves that my brothers, who are older than me and still living with our parents, are jealous. My parents didn't tell me this earlier because they hoped I'd figure it out, which is ridiculous given that it isn't true. Apparently there was enough affection left for them to expect a call on Mom's birthday, but not enough to avoid completely screwing me over. So yeah, never talking to them again. Any of them. I sent the screenshots to the emergency housing office, though I've been warned that emergency housing isn't actually fast. My friend says I can stay with her as long as I need. The reply from my parents didn't explicitly say we cut you off because. But the context is clear enough. Thank you to everyone. At first, cutting them off felt harsh over finances alone, but now that I know the truth, I don't feel bad. I also sent my parents the screenshots of my brother admitting that he and my other brother lied about me. They apologized, but that doesn't change anything. Since my brothers live with my parents, I hope they're all very happy together. New plan: I'm changing the focus of my studies going into 3rd year to subjects I want, not what my parents wanted. If I do this, I'll have a better shot at a work placement. It's a less popular field. If I get a placement, I can work full-time, earn some money, and resume studies the following year. If I can't get placement or help from university or student finance, then I'll defer my 3rd year and work full-time for a year. My friend said I can stay with her as long as I need, and if I can't get emergency housing but can get a placement or another job, we could get a place together next year. I no longer think I'm the a-hole, so I'll probably take this down. And here's the thing, I might not be straight. I'm figuring it out, and I don't really have the capacity to deal with it right now. But I've never told anyone, ever, because I knew my parents were homophobic. So my brothers may have thought they were lying, but they might have accidentally been correct, which is honestly very typical of them. Final update, recap: my parents cut me off financially with 10 days' notice and flimsy reasoning. They had offered to pay my rent throughout university, and suddenly I had 10 days to find a new place. I ended up sleeping on my friend's sofa. For 6 weeks, there was no contact. Then they called asking why I didn't call for Mum's birthday. I wondered if I was the a-hole for not wanting anything to do with them. It later came out that they cut me off because my older brothers told them I'm a lesbian, which I might be. I'm still figuring myself out, but my brothers didn't know that. I sent my parents proof that my brothers lied. My parents apologized, but I haven't forgiven them and probably never will. I applied for emergency housing and a full student finance loan, but since I couldn't prove I'd been cut off, I couldn't get help. I was also considering a work placement because my course offers them and they pay well. Here's where things stand now: I won't be getting emergency housing. There's less than a month left before summer, and I haven't heard anything. I'm still living with my friend. She got me a job where she works and refuses to take rent from me, so I buy food and cook for her as thanks. We plan to move in together this summer for next year. My parents are now desperately trying to get me to forgive them but still refuse to sign a letter saying they cut me off, so I'm still stuck with student finance. They've offered me my truck back, so my roommate, 2 friends, and I will soon go to my parents' house to pick up my truck and my belongings. My tutor wrote a letter for student finance, which they might accept. I'm waiting to hear back. My course changes were approved. I'm now studying what I want. It looks like I got my work placement. I'll either work and study part-time for 2 years or work all next year and finish my studies the following year. Either way, it adds a year to my course, but I'll be earning money and getting experience. Ultimately, everything has worked out as well as it could. Thank you to everyone who commented. Your advice was incredibly helpful, and many of you suggested things I hadn't even considered. I was truly worried that I was in the wrong, so thank you for the reassurance as well. I'll also be booking a session with the on-campus mental health professional, because this situation really opened my eyes to how dysfunctional my family is. Thanks again.